our fall meet at Keeneland. It's sort of the championship playoffs, if you will. These are the races that will qualify horses to earn their spot to compete on the Breeders' Cup stage. We have 10 stakes races throughout the week. 9 of those award automatic spots into the gate for the Breeders' Cup, again, on November 6th and 7th. It is going to be an action-packed month. Let's take a look at the stakes schedule as well. This is some of the stakes racing that you will have to see over the next month or so. I mentioned the 2 features for today. Tomorrow is a huge day. Saturday, October the 3rd, the Shadwell Turf Mile, the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity, the First Lady presented by UK HealthCare, the TCA and the Woodford. And then through Sunday, the Jedmont Spinster, some of the best distaffers in the country will be competing, the Bourbon and the Indian Summer. And you can take a look at the remaining stakes races to come all the way through the end of the meet. The Keeneland Gift Shop is one of those ways that you can have an opportunity to bring a little piece of Keeneland to your home. If you've never had a chance to go there, I sincerely hope you get the opportunity very, very soon. You can also order online via the Keeneland shop right now. Today, they are going to share a few ways with us how you can take part in feeling like Keeneland is right there at home with you. Take a look. Again, be sure to go online and build your own kit for Keeneland at home and visit that gift shop just as soon as you can. We look forward to welcoming you back very, very soon. One of our features today, as mentioned, is the Darley Alcibiades. And the relationship between Darley and this race goes back many, many years. In fact, decades. They've been the sponsor of the Darley Alcibiades for 18 years running. And this is one of those partnerships that is very cherished for the folks at Keeneland and in the Keeneland family. Nearby to Keeneland, you will find Godolphin, their American operation. And today, this is a really special, exclusive look inside their farm. Here's my friend Hallie Hardy to tell you a little bit more about the Darley Stallions.
Thanks, Christina, and to the rest of the Keeneland team for inviting us to join you guys this morning on opening day, on Darley Alcibiades Day. We're really happy to welcome you here to John Abell Farm. John Abell is one of 6 farms here in central Kentucky that is part of the global thoroughbred operation, Godolphin. Godolphin was founded by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, who's the ruler of Dubai, and we breed and race thoroughbreds in 7 different countries. Godolphin is also home to the Darley Stallions. Among our Darley Stallions, who we have back here in the barn, we've got Medaglia d'Oro, who is a leading sire and had a phenomenal week out at the Keeneland September sales last week. He had 4 yearlings sell for $1 million or more. We also stand the 2007 Kentucky Derby winner Street Sense, the 2016 Kentucky Derby winner Nyquist, who incidentally won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile at Keeneland when it was run at Keeneland for the first time back in 2015. But I primarily want to focus on one of our homebred stallions by the name of Bernardini, because he has some very strong ties to the Alcibiades. So 2020 will be Darley's 18th year sponsoring the Alcibiades, but our connection to the race really goes back to 1995, when a filly by the name of Cara Raffaella won the mile and a 16th contest at Keeneland. She went on as a 3-year-old to be a Grade 1 winner and a multiple Grade 1 placed filly. And Godolphin acquired her in 2002. She was in foal at the time to AP Indy, and that foal, born in 2003, ended up being Bernardini, who is arguably one of the best homebreds our operation here in America has had. Bernardini was crowned the Eclipse Champion 3-year-old in 2007 after winning the Grade 1 Preakness and 2 other Grade 1s in the Darley Silks. He retired at the end of his 3-year-old career here to John Bell Farm. He's been here ever since, and he's been an influential part of Darley's operation here in America. He's sired 15 Grade 1 winners. As a broodmare sire, his daughters have produced over 21 graded stakes winners and 9 Grade 1 winners. And his son, Art Collector, will be hoping to follow in his father's footsteps tomorrow in the Preakness at Pimlico. So our connection to the Alcibiades goes further than just our 18 years of sponsorship. Nonetheless, we're proud as ever to sponsor it again this year in 2020. And we're so excited and thrilled that the race is part of the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series, especially after last year when our Alcibiades winner, British Idiom, went on to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. We're wishing all of the runners and their connections the best of luck today in the Grade 1 Darley Alcibiades. Thank you all for coming and seeing some of John Bell today and for letting us be a part of Keeneland at home. Be sure to check out darleyamerica.com to learn more about our stallions, the rest of the stallions we have here, and to follow us on social media as well to see more content like this. We're really hopeful that we'll all be able to be together next year for the Darley Alcibiades, but until then, we hope you have a great Darley Alcibiades Day.
Hallie, thank you so much, and thanks for that exclusive look at Godolphin. And be sure to visit darleyamerica.com if you'd like to learn a little more about the Godolphin and Darley operation. Good luck to all of the competitors in today's Darley Alcibiades.
Swipe is a wide 7th off the far turn. Riker, the leader, cocked and loaded. Nyquist tries to join them. Swipe out in the center of the track. Exaggerator back toward the inside. Nyquist keeps striding forward in the final furlong. He has taken the lead. Swipe moves up behind him toward the outside. Late run from Brody's Cause, but still 5th. It's Nyquist with the lead. Nyquist in front, chased by Swipe. Nyquist to take it. Swipe was home 2nd. Brody's Cause rallied up for 3rd on the outside. Exaggerator was home 4th.
What an incredible 2015 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Nyquist. What a star. He would win the first 8 races of his career, including the Kentucky Derby, and he's off to a fast start at stud as well. He has already been represented by 2 Grade 1 winners in Nyquist and Gretzky the Great, both of whom we will see at the Breeders' Cup. Future Stars Friday, that is the focus of our next interview. And joining me to discuss this is Matt Bernier of NBCSN, of Breeders' Cup and TVG as well. Matt, thanks for taking a little time to come and join me on the show here at Keeneland at Home.
Of course, Christina. It's always exciting talking about the Breeders' Cup. We're just a few short weeks away. Looking forward to it.
Matt, for those at home that just aren't familiar, what exactly is Future Stars Friday? How do you explain this to someone who's just learning about the Breeders' Cup?
Well, Future Stars Friday is the first day of 2 for the Breeders' Cup World Championships, and it's highlighted by the juveniles, the 2-year-olds, and it's sort of the precursor of what could be, what's potentially down the road for some of these horses. We just saw Nyquist win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and ultimately as a 3-year-old, he went on to win a race like the Kentucky Derby, and I think that's what makes Future Stars Friday so exciting, is that these are the stars of tomorrow. These are the horses who, they may not be household names right now, but these are going to be names that you're going to be familiar with in time to come.
And we have several horses competing this weekend at Keeneland over Fall Stars weekend that are trying to earn themselves a spot on Future Stars Friday. Can you talk to me a little bit about the races for the 2-year-olds?
Yeah, we've got a number of races going on down at Keeneland, especially talking about races like the Futurity and the Alcibiades, trying to get into those races on Breeders' Cup Friday, being the Breeders' Cup Juvenile as well as the Juvenile Fillies. But not to mention, we have racing going on as far as the turf is concerned. You've got races like the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, and there'll be races at Keeneland all opening weekend leading into that. So you're going to have a number of horses that you see compete this weekend at Keeneland that you will be seeing again just a few short weeks from now in the World Championships.
And Matt, can you explain the win and you're in component of this? Because I found in the last several years that the juvenile races tend to be the ones that oversubscribe, actually. We have a lot of very talented young horses that want their chance to compete at the Breeders' Cup.
And the win and you're in aspect is a huge part of this. Not only do you win your way into this race, all expenses paid, but you get your travel taken care of, which I think is a major piece to this. $10,000 in North America, $40,000 internationally. And it's not just for these races for the future stars, but it's for all the Breeders' Cup races. So I think that's why so many of these win and you're in races are oversubscribed, and you have so many connections pointing toward these, knowing that there is such an advantage to winning one of these races. It's much less out of pocket going into the Breeders' Cup.
So the 2-year-olds will definitely get their chance, but the older horses as well. We have 10 challenge races between opening day today and next Wednesday. Is there a particular race or a couple of those challenge races that you're really looking forward to?
The big one for me is the Juddmonte Spinster. It's for older fillies and mares. And I say older fillies and mares. There are going to be some 3-year-olds also contesting that race first time against older horses. To me, the Breeders' Cup distaff could potentially be the deepest of the entire lot of Breeders' Cup Championship races. And I always think there's some added benefit to proving yourself over the track, that you're going to be taking on even better company here in just 4 short weeks. So that's a race that I kind of have earmarked to find out if some of the girls stepping up in class can really handle the racetrack, and potentially that sort of leads into the Breeders' Cup distaff and perhaps races to come.
That's going to be key all weekend, as you say, competing over the track where we will run the Breeders' Cup November 6th and 7th here at Keeneland. Okay, Matt, so for the fans at home that are excited about all of these win and you're in races, where can they watch?
NBCSN Friday, Sunday, and Wednesday. You've got multiple races each of those days. And then obviously on Saturday, all eyes are going to be on the Preakness down at Pimlico. We'll have a little bit of an update from Keeneland there as well. So you've got action all over the place. NBCSN and NBC, your home.
Matt Bernier, thanks for the time. We look forward to seeing you more throughout the weekend and hearing your analysis of these Breeders' Cup win and you're in events. Time to do a little handicapping now. Don't forget, 1:05 Eastern is post time for the first of 10 races on this opening day. And also a free digital program is available to you right there on the Keeneland website. So go ahead and print that out if you have not done so already. Joining me today, as always, is my partner here on Keeneland at Home, the Uber capper, Ellis Starr. Ellis, happy opening day. I know how much you look forward to these weeks of racing at Keeneland, and now we combine it with the Pimlico racing this weekend. This is going to be a fantastic few days to make some money.
It is, and the weather's great. It's cool. The horses are going to love it, Christina. I feel like I don't get to dress up anymore, so I'm wearing a tie as if I was at the track today, and I'm ready to go. It's a great racing card at Keeneland. Thanks so much for having me on. Hopefully we can do what we did this past summer. I don't remember the exact number, but it was like 8 for 17. Very rare for a contrarian like me to get that many top picks. I'm hoping to get nearly as close, and certainly there's a lot of great racing to pick from.
Well, let's do it again here. We're going to jump right into sort of the second half of the program today. Ellis, I want to start with race number 6. This is a really nice optional claiming race, $71,000 purse. It's a mile event. Eddie Keneally with a nice horse down at the rail. I think Lady Lily will take a little bit of action for Steve Asmussen. She was third in the spinaway. But I know you have a horse in here that you think is a real standout. Who do you like?
Yes, I do. Splendid number 9, and I usually don't do what we call best bets or most probable winners on the day, but she appears to be that in this case. These are all nice fillies, 2-year-olds improving, many coming off wins in their last race or their race before, but this is a talented 2-year-old filly who won decisively in her most recent race, her third start, August 29th. She had run third in her first 2 races, but then she just came home, won by 4 lengths in spite of being bumped a little bit at Saratoga, which is very difficult as it is. She showed some maturity sitting off the pace, which you like with young horses, so that means they can take if there's traffic or other things come up in a race. She gets a post, which is good for a sprint. So the mile, the 9, she can drop in pretty early in the race and do very well. And most of all, she's the fastest based on the Equibase speed figure, which is one way to measure it. It's a number that represents time, and it normalizes for different tracks. It's an 86 Equibase speed figure. The next best horse in the field is about a 76, about 5 lengths different. I think the great way to play this race is certainly if you can get a 2-to-1 or so, or even 3-to-1. I think she's a win bet. I like the exacta part wheel as well here, taking about 4 horses to come in second. So it's called an exacta key or part wheel. It's going to be the 9 Spun Etat over 1 Torchy's Charm, 4 American Grace, 6 Puy Timing, and the 7 Lady Lily, who you mentioned. 9 over 1, 4, 6, 7. It's a $4 bet at $1. Definitely put that in with your win bet on Spun Etat in race 6.
You could even play that a couple times if you wanted to as well for that $4 wager. Okay, Ellis, let's jump to those Breeders' Cup win and you're in events. The first of two today will be race number 8. It's the Grade 2 Stoll, Keenon, Ogden, Phoenix. This is a fantastic group lining up. And these fields are going to be so deep and talented this year because the Breeders' Cup is at Keeneland. Everybody wants a race over the track. You want to see how you're going to take to the surface. Let's start first with Diamond Oops, who runs second off the layoff and interestingly kind of switches turf back to dirt. What do you think about this runner today?
Well, I've liked this horse since last year when he won the Smile Sprint back at Gulfstream in the summer of 2019. Then he ran second in the Vanderbilt, which is an important Grade 1 at Saratoga. Last year, this weekend, he was entered in both this race, the Phoenix on opening weekend, and the Shadwell Turf Mile. I was very surprised that Patrick Biancone entered him in the Shadwell Turf Mile, and he almost pulled off the upset, leading in the stretch and being beaten less than a length at 12-1. He's won on both turf and dirt, as people can see looking at those free programs, and he comes into the race off a sparkling win when he rallied from dead last and 12th on the grass. It sets him up very well. 4 weeks ago, he's at home on both surfaces. And again, if you look at his consistency, his equibase speed figures, 117 from the Vanderbilt last year, a 117 at the end of the year winning the Mr. Prospector, and 117 in the Turf Sprint. That is the fastest, best speed figures of any of the contenders in this field.
There's a couple horses in here I want to follow up with, Ellis, that I really like. Lexitonian, boy, I thought he was going to get there for the Grade 1 at Del Mar in the Bing Crosby. He runs third off the layoff, which could be a good form cycle race for him. And then Midnight Sands to the far outside, a very impressive U.S. debut after coming over from Dubai. Do you give either of those a chance?
I give those a chance, and Whitmore. So let me just start real quick with Whitmore. I think he's the pro here. He's been in this race 4 years in a row. He doesn't, we call carry his track around with him. He comes in and does well. He won the race in 2017, second in 2018 by a head, and last year beaten a half length. What's interesting is last year he had run 8th in a race in New York and then put in this big race here in the Phoenix. The same thing this year. He ran 7th in his most recent race in New York, so I'm not worried about him. The two you talked about, definitely contenders. Lexitonian, he had this issue, if people will recall, in the Vanderbilt, in which he kind of sat down in the gate. It was an automatic scratch, shipped all the way to California and lost by a nose. They're really trying to get him in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Probably didn't like a sloppy track last time in New York, and certainly his best race is good, particularly since last year he almost posted the upset at 46-1, leading in the stretch and beaten just half the length at the end. And as you mentioned, the X factor is Midnight Sands. He raced 9 times in England and the United Arab Emirates, including 5 wins in a row through February of this year. He may have needed his race, not been completely fit, coming back from a layoff from February to September. He made the lead after stalking in third in a race at Churchill Downs and ended up tiring back to third. He should be stronger. And again, the post is really nice. He gets a 9 post for a horse with his kind of tactical speed that could sit outside the speed. I like him a lot in this race as well as a contender. 4 strong contenders, but Diamond Oops will be my top pick.
And Brendan Walsh does such a nice job with those horses coming from whether it be Dubai or from overseas. Second off that extended break should be interesting for Midnight Sands. We have another Breeders' Cup win and you're in event, and it's the very next race. This time we turn our attention to the 2-year-old fillies in the Grade 1 Darley Alcibiades. They'll go a mile and a 16th in distance. Ellis, Kenny McPeak has 3 horses in this field. Where do we start with the McPeak runners?
Well, I like the 2 Travel Column, who's not in the McPeak. Brad Cox slightly, but the 2 McPeaks, Crazy Beautiful and Simply Ravishing, are the other horses I think can win. But Travel Column is really interesting. I looked last year, and I remember that Brad Cox had won this race with British Idiom, and he did the same thing off a maiden debut sprint, and it was a good race. And Travel Column actually got a very strong equibase figure of 87, not as good as the McPeak runners, but very good. But it was a decisive win by 4 lengths, clearly the best. Should run even better at the distance because of the breeding. This horse is bred to run. There's the dam, which is the mother of the horse, produced a horse named Neolithic, who won $2.2 million, was third in the Dubai World Cup, third in the Pegasus, third in the Woodward Stakes, big races around the country in the division. So this This horse should run well, came from just off the pace, which is the kind of maturity I'm looking for with 2-year-olds right now. Then to the McPeak runners, Christina, actually, you're right. They're both really good, 2 of them at least. Crazy Beautiful ran second after being blocked in the Pocahontas Stakes after winning the Debutante Stakes. She's nearly perfect in her career with 2 wins and a second. She improved her Equibase speed figure to 96, which is the best in the field, so she's actually run the fastest. And she should absolutely get the extra half a furlong here because her last race was at a mile. What's interesting is both Crazy Beautiful and Simply Ravishing both broke their maidens first out around 2 turns on turf, and that's pretty tough. And that gives them 2-turn experience. The other one, Simply Ravishing, I mentioned after that win, she cut back to 7 furlongs in the P.G. Johnson Stakes, an important stakes for 2-year-olds at Saratoga, which was meant for the grass, but it was run on the dirt. And so she proved she could run on the dirt. She won by 6 lengths. She really just destroyed them. And she improved to a 94 figure. McPeak trained 2018 Alcibiades winner, trained the runner-ups in 2015, 16, and 17. And he didn't have a starter last year, so he's been first or second the last 4 times he's had a runner. He's got 3 shots here. I think he should keep that record intact.
And I think he's right atop the list as far as purchasing yearlings for value there at the Keeneland sales and then coming back the next year in these races. So good luck to all the competitors in the Darley Alcibiades today. Ellis, thank you for the insight as per usual. And where can people follow along with you online today if they just want to keep up on the rest of your picks?
Absolutely. Well, at UberCapper is my Twitter handle. I'll be trying to post all day. I do have a race of the day every day for the Keeneland website, and then also in the Keeneland selection. Keeneland Selector is going to be a pick for a stakes race this weekend.
Ellis Starr, he will be with us each and every day here on Keeneland at Home, bringing you those winners, and be sure to check his Twitter handle online for more updates throughout the day. If you're new to wagering, if you're new to handicapping, we have a segment for you as well on Keeneland at Home today. This is Betology. So in Betology, we sort of break things down, the terminology, how to read the racing form, really anything that you need to know to learn more about how to play this great game that we all know and love. So we've actually asked you to submit some of your questions this week, and our betologist, Greg Burke, is here to answer them. Take a look.
Hello, my name is Greg Burke. I'm a betologist here at Keeneland, and I am here today to answer some of your questions from social media. So what is the easiest bet? Is one of the questions that we've received. The easiest bet is, I consider the show bet. And the reason I consider the show bet the easiest bet is because your horse can actually come into 3 different positions and you still win money. So if you bet your horse to show, which is come in 3rd, your horse can come in 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, and that bet is a winning bet. One of the questions that we as betologists get asked on a regular basis is, can I cancel my bet? And the answer is yes. Basically, if you're here at the track and you have your ticket in hand, you can take it to the teller and cancel it anytime all the way up until the start of that race. If you're betting on your phone or your computer, you can go back into your archived bets, look for the active bets, and then there's a cancel tab right there where you can cancel it out. Now, the only thing about that is karma. Karma says that if you have a bet that you've already made, that's the one that's going to win. So you might just think about keeping that bet and making your other bet alongside of it. So one of the questions I also get on a regular basis is, I'm in a group here at Keeneland. We want to do something together and make the group have a little bit more fun. What I recommend is using what's called a parlay bet. A lot of people use this with the show bet. Basically what you do is at the beginning of the day, you decide how much money each person's going to put in. You bet all that money on your first horse to show in the first race, and each person takes a turn picking that horse. And throughout the day, if you continue to win, that money rolls over to the next race and the next person picks the horse. Sometimes, unfortunately, we don't always pick one that comes in 3rd or 1st or 2nd. And basically, you just start over. You add more money into the pot, let it ride.
Stoll, Keenon, Ogden is the sponsor of today's Phoenix Stakes. Again, 6 furlongs on the main track for those sprinters trying to earn their way into the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Keeneland here in a few weeks' time. This is a relationship that goes all the way back to the beginning of Keeneland, to 1936. Those of you history buffs out there, you are going to love this story. Here's the story of Keeneland and Stoll, Keenon, Ogden.
The October 2nd opening day of the Fall Meet marks the 10th running of the Grade 2 Phoenix as sponsored by the noted Lexington law firm Stoll, Keenon, Ogden. Keeneland and SKO have a special relationship. SKO is the only legal counsel Keeneland has had since it was founded more than 80 years ago.
The legacy of the relationship between Stoll, Keenon, Ogden and Keeneland Association really started on a Sunday afternoon in 1934 when a group of Lexington businessmen, including farmers, cattle farmers, tobacco farmers, judges, and attorneys gathered at Green Tree Farm to really come up with the idea of a new racetrack, a track which would ultimately become Keeneland Association.
And so, a legal and business relationship transpired between the new Keeneland and the law firm represented by 2 members of that group, Judge Richard Stoll and Wallace Muir. The law firm is now known as Stoll, Keenon, Ogden, PLLC.
So one thing that was unique about how Keeneland Association was structured is that it was a corporation that was designed not to distribute dividends to its stakeholders, but to instead reinvest its profits in the track, in the community, and in the industry. The story goes that credit for that formation concept was a combination both of Judge Stoll and a young attorney named Gail Money, who at the time was a younger attorney in the firm, but who eventually became one of the world's most prominent equine attorneys.
The incorporation papers were believed to be unlike any that had been written before.
So Gail Money's legacy at Keeneland is really foundational. He quite literally started the practice of equine law at Stoll Keenon through his relationship and the formation with Keeneland, and then ultimately growing that relationship towards cultivating an international equine practice that continues until this day.
Now in the business of selling thoroughbreds, Keeneland needed advice, and of course, called Gail Money and his peers at their law firm. By this time, Money was on his way to becoming the most well-known and well-respected equine lawyer in the country. Not only was he pioneering the creation of equine sales law in Kentucky, but in the early 1970s, he was taking a certain young lawyer from the firm under his wing. The young man's name was Buddy Bishop.
So Buddy Bishop grew up on the grounds of Keeneland and eventually came to practice law at Stoll Keenon underneath Gail Money. And I think what Buddy was most passionate about was taking care of the track and the facility that took care of him. He was able eventually to fulfill that role, not just through being a legal advisor, but ultimately a trustee of Keeneland, where he was entrusted in help guiding the future of Keeneland for years to come.
Buddy served as a trustee for only 2 years before his death at 64. One of the firm's lawyers who picked up the torch at Keeneland was his daughter, Shannon Bishop Arvin.
My father was trustee and legal counsel to Keeneland for a lot of years, and before that he grew up out there on the Keeneland grounds. It's nice to be involved with a company that always is striving to do the right thing by the horse.
This summer, Shannon Bishop Arvin was named by the Keeneland trustees as president-elect. She will become Keeneland's 8th president and the first woman to serve in the position.
It's nice to continue that connection with my father. He's no longer with us, but Keeneland was really special to him and special to me also.
Once again, the connection between Keeneland and the only law firm it has ever had is writing a new chapter in the Keeneland story.
A long tradition there with Stoll, Keenon, Ogden, and one that will certainly continue with President-elect Shannon Arvin at the helm. We look forward to the many years to come with her leading Keeneland. And good luck to all the competitors in this year's Stoll, Keenon, Ogden Phoenix. Again, post time for the race, 5:05 p.m. out here on the East Coast. All right, it's time to lighten things up a little bit here on the show. So last summer, we brought you some of these hilarious videos. They were your home videos, but we gave it a little extra twist with our track announcer, Kurt Becker. He tells you a little story, it gives you a few funny lines in there, and just makes these at-home videos that much more enjoyable. These are Kurt's calls. Take a look at our first one here on Keeneland at Home.
Sometimes life puts an obstacle in your path. You just want to push it out of the way. Well, that doesn't always work. So then you have to regroup, come up with a different idea, maybe sink your teeth into it. That usually gets the job done, but not today. You know, you humans talk about doing the heavy lifting. Please, you don't know the half of it.
Be sure to continue to send in your fun home videos. And we know while you've been home on quarantine, you've had a chance to take a few more videos of your friends, family, and pets. That's going to wrap it up for the first show here on Keeneland at Home. Again, use the hashtag. Let your friends know that you have been watching. We hope you enjoy the entire opening day program today. Just phenomenal racing that will begin at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. A special thanks to our sponsors, Darley and Stoll Keenon, and of course, our friends at UK HealthCare for sponsoring Keeneland at Home. And don't forget, you can watch the full card from home, from your television, from your phone, from your computer. Here's a look at those listings. My colleagues over at TVG will have you handled all afternoon there. Again, you can watch on your phone from the Keeneland Race Day app or on your computer, Keeneland.com, Keeneland Select, YouTube as well. Each and every day on the show, we are going to play you out with a little musical styling, and this one is a great way to kick off the set. So Railbird Sets from the Whirl with Grayson Jenkins will close out our show. Here is A Cowboy's Dream. Good luck at Keeneland today.
Caught up in this cowboy dream right through sunset to Wyoming. I made good time across the high plains. Stumble in a tavern, blow my whistle to wet, and there's men in the corner making their bets. It's a different town, but it sure looks the same. And oh, but if I was a cowboy, you wouldn't blame me for acting this old way. You'd never have to wonder why you couldn't get me to stay. Playing in these crowded bars, just cheap cigarettes and $1 guitars. When the music dies, Lord, I'm all alone. These women of the